All right, how you doing, ladies and gentlemen? I'd like to talk to you about the Tibet-Qinghai Plateau, found in major parts of China. This is known as the roof of the world, which has to do with the elevation of this particular area. It has some of the highest elevations that are found on the planet. Therefore, we nickname it the roof of the world. Quick review on what a plateau is. This is generally a land area having a relatively level surface considerably raised above adjoining land on at least one side. So that means it's a land area that goes up in elevation, but at the major parts of it are relatively level in terms of the way that it looks. So the physical features of this particular plateau, it can be characterized by rocky land surrounded by tall mountains, and the average elevation is about 13,500 feet, which is over 2 miles above sea level. So the average elevation is quite high. And then when we talk about the land area, if you take a look at this map, you'll notice that it covers about 1/4 of China. So a good portion of China, which is the third largest country in the world, has very, very high elevation on average. The next thing we'll talk about is the climate. You see some pictures here of some mountain climbers in Mount Everest. This just characterizes the very cold climate due to the high elevation and the thin, dry air, which means that there's very little oxygen in the atmosphere at these elevations. And that means that at any point in the year, snow could fall, even in the summer. The next thing we'll mention is the water and the vegetation and the wildlife. Um, Two of China's major rivers start at the plateau. The first one is known as the Yellow River, and then the other major river is the Yangtze River. And these are two of China's major rivers. The plant life consists basically of grasses and bushes. The climate is just simply too harsh for any type of forest really to grow and thrive. And that means that there are some animals that eat these grasses and bushes, and they would include things like antelope and yaks. Um, if there's those type of animals around, that generally means that there's some predators around. The meat-eating animals would include wolves and wildcats, and these animals tend to hunt some of those grazing animals in the region. So then that takes us to really the highest mountain in this area, and this happens to be the highest mountain in the world. It has an elevation of just over 29,000 feet, and that is more than 5 miles above sea level, which is an absolute amazing elevation and really makes it one of the biggest natural wonders of the world. And this is found here on the Tibetan Qinghai Plateau. And then we'll talk about life on the plateau. Basically, it's too cold and dry to grow any significant crops, but the grasses do provide food for yaks and other livestock, which means that these animals can be raised to be sold and eaten by the people that live in this area. Um, Really, what happens is because of the landform here of the rocky plateau and all of the mountains and the high elevation, it makes travel through this area very difficult. So people tended to stay isolated in these areas, and because life, essentially was very, very challenging in this area. So that gives you a little information here on the Tibet-Qinghai Plateau, also known as the roof of the world. If you need to rewind this, take a look at it, ask questions about things you're not sure about, and we'll keep talking about China. All right.